Thanks to Fantic for sponsoring this video. When you have all this, are you able to sell it for more? Has it added value? Today we'll take you inside a Tesla-powered home in the suburbs of Atlanta, where you'll find a backyard solar farm with dual Tesla chargers plus Powerwalls, along with a host of upgrades that make this as efficient of a home as possible. And as of this recording, a house that was on the market.
Funny thing is, so some of the people who are interested are already asking, so can you take the solar panels with you?
Oh, interesting.
I almost fell over. I was like,
you're like, no, this house is not for you.
No.
I'm not selling it to you.
Right?
And it's not every day that a house with these unique EV-friendly and hyper-efficiency features goes on the market. So the last few years, there's been this trend towards people that are into Tesla and EVs where they wanted to put solar on the roofs, they've wanted to add Tesla Powerwalls. But what happens when you do all that and then you go to sell your house? Well, today we are talking with Eric Miller, and he is doing just that. He's done all kinds of stuff to his house, and you guys might even remember him from a previous video we made with him about 5 years ago, believe it or not. He's the owner of Yona Mountain Vineyards, and you guys actually seem to have it all here. You have chargers, you have the Tesla chargers, solar, Powerwall, LED lighting. Eric's family-owned and operated vineyard features a 106 kilowatt solar farm powering over 60% of the vineyard's energy needs, a pavilion with Tesla solar tiles, and 14 EV charging stalls, just to name a few. In his backyard, you'll find a 24-panel and a 40-panel solar array, totaling a 13.2 kilowatt system.
When we first put them in, we didn't have any electric cars, so it took almost 50% of our total energy use. So, which was great. The power bill was cut in half. And then I got a Tesla, and now in the last 3 years, my wife has a Tesla. So now it's around 35% of our annual use. I mean, with gas prices, it's like can't have a better time to just be charging your car off of your own power plant.
Of course it wasn't cheap. Eric's total cost for solar was $43,000, while another nearly $20,000 went towards adding the 28 kilowatt hour of backup storage in the form of his 2 Powerwalls.
We ground mounted them because we had enough backyard space available. And luckily I got to sneak them in before there was a policy in the HOA about no solar panels and not letting them be allowed to be seen from the road and all this stuff.
So one of my questions for you is why you chose to do the ground version versus the solar on the roof.
So that's a great question. When we were getting the consultants here, and they're like, if you ever have enough yard, you should always go with a ground mount. And I was like, what for? And he said, if anything happens, it's easy to repair. If there's something that goes down, you can get to it, you can clean them, as opposed to hiring somebody to climb on your roof and wash them all off. So they said, if you've got the backyard, 100% go with the backyard availability. That's
not all he's done to this house. I want to see some of the other things that you've done.
Oh, sure. Okay.
So let's do it. How I discovered this house was I was on Tesla Motors Atlanta group, and I'm scrolling through it on Facebook, and I come across somebody selling their house. And they said, I'd love this to go to a Tesla owner that appreciates all this stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, this house is perfect. I love it. I sent it to my husband. It's a little too far away for us. Although part of me is still like doing the math on how long it would take to commute for my husband to work and to school. I'm like, but it is amazing. And then I sent Eric a message, and then lo and behold, I realized we've actually done a video with him before and we already knew each other. So it's just funny. It's like such a small world. All right guys, super pumped to tell you about today's sponsor, Fantic. They make one of the most powerful and best portable tire inflators on the market right now. This is the X8 Apex Air Inflator. It's an insanely small and lightweight inflator. It weighs less than 2 pounds, it's about the size of a Coke bottle, but it packs a punch. It can deliver up to 150 PSI and is 45% faster than most devices on the market. It also features a rechargeable 7800 milliamp hour battery, and a single charge can inflate more than 6 car tires. One of my favorite features is that it has 5 smart inflation modes, meaning you can set the air pressure you desire and the Apex inflator will auto stop at your set air pressure. With a built-in LED flashlight, I love the peace of mind of having something like this in my car before any road trip. We've also got 3 kids, so we have tons of bikes, sport balls, and bike trailers that always need some air, and this portable inflator is one of my favorite tools to have. You can find it on Amazon or go to fantic.com. I've got the links in the description below. Just enter code KIMX8APEX to get $31 off Fantic X8 tire inflator. Okay, now that we're pumped up, let's get back into it. Oh,
Ran it all the way around the ceiling and then down to the wall charger. We got this car in 2020, so this was the first COVID car. And then I got the upgrade to the Plaid.
I noticed that.
We went from the 2014 S, which was the P85DL. And we're like, well, I mean, we may as well go to the Plaid, right? Like, why not?
So you're selling these with the house?
That's the idea. And I would love for someone to, you know, want them and appreciate them. Because it's, to me, it's like the greatest part of the house is your own energy system, your own storage system. Everything is all integrated. You know, it's perfect for electric cars. Like, because it did cost thousands and thousands of dollars to, I mean, even get the high power wall chargers in here and, you know, run the electricity and install the solar that all integrates. And, you know, right now I'm directly charging off the sun. 8.1 from the Powerwall, 11 from the solar, none from the grid right now. So if I can always find that sweet spot, right? I don't pull anything from the grid. So then you swipe over here, there's Dad's X. Here's my Tesla, so it's charging right now. I usually ramp it down so that we don't max everything out. So right now, right off the sun, we're charging my car, and then there's my wife's car, and we're charging it. On top of this, as a sneak peek in part 2, there's the farmhouse at Yona, and then there's the new pavilion with the solar roof.
Wow, okay, we'll be coming out there soon.
Exactly, the Yona pavilion solar roof.
Oh, that's so cool. So is there, one of my questions is there an option to then remove this, take these with you? You
could, I'm pretty sure we could do everything. You know, it just would cost a lot.
Is it worth it?
I don't know, I guess that's gonna be part of the negotiating for anyone who wants the house.
This is not something you do to a house when you're planning on moving. You know, it's a big investment. It's stuff you do when it's your forever home, which is also why I think a lot of like people like me were like, oh my gosh, I want this house. I want to live here right now. So can you tell us like what happened or why are you deciding to sell this house?
So we had, it basically comes down to schools. One of the schools is over in Milton.
Okay.
And so as soon as we discovered that, we were like, oh God, like we can't commute every day an hour and 8 minutes to Milton. Like, are we gonna have to move? And this literally happened 2.5 weeks ago. So we decided 2.5 weeks ago, we need to move and try and get them in before school starts, which is last week.
Yep.
And then we need to sell our house. So all this happened in the last 3 weeks, which has been, my hair's on fire because we're about to have Crush Fest and everything's going on at the winery also.
When it comes to selling your house, has it been different when you have all this? Are you able to sell it for more? Has it added value?
This is a great question, and I have been obsessed with trying to find that answer. According to all the reports, it should add at least 30%, and depending on where you're in the country, like 70 or 100%. But with inflation, and in the last 2 years, all the houses have doubled in value, just regardless, even if they didn't have solar or anything. So it's a weird time to actually see if that was affecting everything. I'm hoping it would be, and you would think that people who are looking for that would want the extra value in it. The funny thing is, so some of the people who are interested are already asking, so can you take the solar panels with you?
Oh, interesting.
I almost fell over. I was like,
you're like, no, this house is not for you.
No.
I'm not selling it to you.
Right? It's like, that's like,
yeah.
They're like, well, we just don't know how to maintain the solar panels. It's like, you don't have to do anything. Like, they just work all day. They're completely integrated. But of course, we're not talking. It's the real estate.
I feel like I would have a hard time though selling to someone like that. I feel like it's like there has to be some kind of emotional attachment to all this.
Absolutely. I'm trying not to cry right now, Kim, because that's exactly how we feel, right? My wife and I were like, we poured our heart into this thing, and like, there's like no glaring issues, you know, not like, we'll just sweep that under the rug. Like, we were not planning on moving, so yeah, I think it is. It's a gem.
I know. I want it. Honestly, I would move here in a heartbeat. His home also goes beyond just the EV connection. In his basement, you'll find one of the most efficient AC electric heat pumps on the market, an 18-SEER system providing more than 50% in cooling cost savings. There's like recording. Is there a story behind this?
No, not really. I mean, this was my COVID project. So I did all this during COVID while we were home a lot more, and I upgraded my basement surround sound system because, you know, Dad needs a room of his own.
You know, and you knew we'd be coming here to shoot a YouTube video, so
exactly,
now we can have great audio.
Exactly. Less echo. With 3 daughters, my wife informed me that hot water was going to be a huge issue. So I started looking for, like, well, what's the best hot water system? I always see these tinier, you know, like 40-gallon, 50-gallon things. And then I found that there's this hybrid thing that's like an air conditioner, and it's like super efficient at heating up the things. I said, oh, maybe I could just get one giant one, and that'll be enough for the girls. So I got an 80-gallon one. And of course, 3 months later, they're all like, the hot water runs out too quick. So I got a second. So they're in series and they're both 80 gallons. So that was in the last 2 years. And then of course I was like, well, if we're doing all of it, we should upgrade the entire air conditioning system. So this is only the solar panels, right, with the breakers and the Tesla Powerwalls, right? And then that's the full breaker for this thing. So that's the generation panel. This is all the not backed up stuff, which is the high power, the furnace, the air conditioner upstairs, the oven, the garage chargers. And so then everything in here is backed up by the power walls. So when we lose power, I get to keep at least all the lights and the internet, my surround sound system.
All the important things.
The important things, right? If we're watching a movie, right?
Yes.
It backs up with the power wall and there's not even an interruption. You know, the fans where it was like this big and, you know, like that tall, and they came out to replace it. I was like, good God! It's like 3 times as big, these monsters. They're like, yeah, that's how you make it more efficient.
So this is like the heat pump is all part of this?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how the heat exchange, you know, heat pump, you know, just runs the cooling lines. And the bigger it is, the more air it can take in and do the heat exchange.
Immediately after our visit, Eric received an offer for the home and ended up selling within just 3 days. A nearby home with a similar footprint and layout has been on the market for over 90 days. So in the end, it appeared that Eric's setup did net him between 10 to 30% more value to his property compared to nearby homes without these features. The buyer's initial interest wasn't in the solar, but the yard and the design. But after they learned of all the Tesla stuff, they wanted it all. Let me know what you guys think, and if you have questions about the house or doing things like this to your home, put them in the comments below, and hopefully you can pop on and answer some of those things. And in a couple of weeks, we'll go out to the winery and
yeah, part 2. There's a lot of exciting things.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that. And make sure you are subscribed and give this video a like, and we'll see you next time.
It is the scariest car I've ever owned.
And why do you say that?
I mean, and I've had advanced like driver training and all this stuff. The Plaid is so fast that anyone I tell, I'm like, you should absolutely take an advanced driving course before you get a Plaid, because it is scary. It's not the 0 to 60 in 1.9 seconds that's scary. It's the 60 to 150 in 4 more seconds that is scary. And you know, normally you're like, oh wow, I wonder if we're gonna be 100, right? And in 3 seconds you're going 100 miles an hour. Like 1, 2, 100 miles an hour, right? And you have to change how you think about the road. I don't even do 0 to 60s anymore. You know, like when the Teslas first came out, everyone's like, come on, it's like a roller coaster. I do like rolling easy starts, and if it's in Plaid, I'll gently go like this instead of like bam, floor it, because people's heads fall off, right? And people black out and they just spill everything on themselves. It is completely a monster.
That is amazing. And now you're ruined for any other vehicle ever again.
Absolutely. Just ruined.